So as much as I want the market to go up, it's probably not going to happen for at least till Q3, like in October, November. We have to think of all of the fundamental factors and the technical factors that are contributing to a decline in the overall crypto market cap and crypto in general. And one of the biggest contributing factors technically is, well, you look at all the major indicators and these indices like the RSI, the MACD, they're all pointing to a downtrend on the weekly chart. And there's no denying that. Despite these short-term relief rallies that we keep seeing quite often, based off of price action, it's still creating lower highs and lower lows every single time. And it's also a major channel that has been formed over 131 days now that you can see very visibly on the weekly chart. So those are just some of the reasons, and let's get into it even more. And if you think about the state of the economy right now, the interest rate is at an all-time high, and inflation is also extremely high right now. So with the interest rate extremely high, it prevents people from having more purchasing or borrowing power. So nobody wants to spend because the cost to pay back something that they borrow is extremely high. Nobody can get a mortgage because the interest rates are just out of hand right now. Nobody can take out a small loan to grow their business or to even do a renovation on their garage or their house if they want to. And eventually, what ends up happening after this long period of high interest rate is there's quantitative easing. And that's where the government ends up injecting money back into the economy to grow it as an incentivization. And then eventually, there's going to be interest rate cuts. And that's all timed for Q4 right now. So the federal election is in November. Not only that, for the Fed watch, for the FOMC meetings, which occurs like every so often, the predictions is that in Q4, like around October and November, that's when rate cuts are eventually going to begin. And when rate cuts do begin, that's going to be timed with the federal election in Q4. That's where people will have more liquidity. They're going to have more capital, more borrowing power. People would be able to use their credit cards or get loans or buy houses or buy cars. And that's really going to be a major driving factor for Bitcoin and crypto in general, of people having excess money that they can put into the market. And without having this type of spending power, it's just not possible for us to break into an all-time high anytime soon. People need excess capital to inject into the market. And that's only going to come with rate cuts. And even though everybody wants Bitcoin to go to the moon, like I want Bitcoin to go to $79 million, for example, what we want, it may not necessarily coincide with all the technical and the fundamental factors that are arguing against the case. And I find that a lot of newer investors and day traders, their main strategy is hopium. Like I want it to go to a specific price, but it doesn't go to the price that they want, or rather it goes the opposite way and they have absolutely no way of handling their risk or managing it. And that's what gets people wiped out over a period of time, especially if it's like their first rodeo in crypto. But I've been in the market for 9 years now, two bull markets, two bear markets, and I do this professionally for a living, and I manage a substantial amount of capital for both day trading and for investing. So I would say that I'm more aware than the average person in the market by magnitudes. So my best advice to everybody right now is it's very simple. It's just find a way to get more capital. Because if you think about the long-term bias right now of Bitcoin and crypto in general, it's all leading towards a bull market that's likely going to begin Q4. In fact, I'm betting millions of dollars on that. In fact, I already have bet millions of dollars on that. That Q4 is going to be a very bullish period that's going to coincide with quantitative easing, with interest rate cuts, with the federal election as well. And we're going to see like how far this is going to rally. It's going to rally by magnitudes in 2025. So it's time to be patient and to get more capital so we can eventually inject it into the market in Q4. So the state of the market right now is in turmoil. Okay, like right now, every altcoin of mine in my portfolio, in everybody's portfolio, it's in shambles. And there needs to be a methodology that we use to manage our risk. And everybody is going to adhere to a different type of of what's the word I'm looking for? A type of tolerance, okay? So my tolerance and my strategy is most likely going to be different than other people's threshold for pain in the game. So I adopt the strategy of keeping cash on hand. That's extremely important to me. And also dollar cost averaging whenever there's opportunities for major dips that occur. Now, sometimes I'm wrong, and most times I'm wrong actually, and I humbly accept that I'm wrong. When I make predictions of lower lows, it doesn't happen. But I'm still in a position where I'm able to buy more during these dips, and it doesn't really affect me long term. So my strategy is basically holding strong, aka diamond hands, and dollar cost averaging further on major dips where, especially when the total market cap ends up dropping significant amounts. And when the Bitcoin dominance drops even more, that's a great time for me to accumulate alts. Whereas there's other people that will manage it on different time frames and different periods of time in terms of managing their risk. So they might be shedding or adding a lot more in terms of intervals in a short period of time. Like some people might be managing their portfolio within like, a 1 or 2, 3 month period where they're going to be buying and selling quite often and taking advantage of more of the volatility that ends up moving. Whereas myself, when I invest long term, I look at the bigger picture on charts like the 4-day chart or the weekly chart or even the monthly chart. Now, that might not necessarily be the perfect strategy for you to adopt. I'm sorry, I apologize. I didn't even notice that the sun. Now, that might not necessarily be the best strategy for you to use, but it certainly works for me. As long as you're developing some sort of methodology to manage your risk, to dollar cost average, and to ensure that you're not taking massive amounts of risk in the market, like for example, unbalancing your or having an unbalanced portfolio, right? You're gonna do pretty well, as long as you're understanding the delicate balance between high profit and high risk. Because the higher of a profit you could make, the higher of a risk there is as well to lose everything. For example, if you're only investing in meme coins or in projects that are like lower than top 500 because you're looking for like a moonshot, you're looking for a coin that can do like 100x or 200x. Also understand that, yeah, you could make a huge amount of profit, but there's also a huge chance that that coin could go to zero. So with high profit potential, there's going to be a very high risk as well. Whereas if you're looking at a more balanced portfolio on the lower risk side, it's also going to have a potential for lower profit as well. But once you get to a portfolio size like in the millions of dollars, you're not going to be buying a crap ton of meme coins or coins that are lower than top 200 coins. You're going to focus on those blue chip type of coins that are highly established with a strong CEO and a development team that has a strong social media presence and an active community that's contributing as well. So for those types of projects like Solana or Ethereum, sure, they're not going to yield substantial returns, but due to their establishment and their reputation and how active they are, and especially their high market cap, it's got a much higher chance to succeed and return a guaranteed ROI rather than something lower ranked. So just to summarize, like I highly urge you guys to be patient, okay? And regardless of if we get to a lower price point or we break out now, to me it doesn't really matter because all that matters is I keep accumulating. I keep accumulating and I don't allow that short-term volatility to mess up my mind so I might make mistakes. And a lot of the times, newer people, the newer investors and newer traders, they're gonna get psyched out. They're gonna get so mind fucked over like a few small 20-30% movements down that they end up selling at the bottom. And this happens all the time. So all that you can really do is be aware of the long-term bias of crypto, which is bullish. And if you can accept that in your mind, in your heart, in your body, in your soul, right, especially through your discipline, if you can accept that fact, you're going to be able to make better decisions in terms of holding and especially buying as well. So even though Bitcoin right now is at $62,000, which, man, I called it. I called that we're not going to break above 70K. It just, it doesn't matter what I call, right? It's what you believe, right? I'm just another random person online that's been doing this a long time and taking with a grain of salt for everyone's opinion that you listen to, right? But right now we're at 62K. I believe we're going to get back down to at least $54,000. And it might be your very last opportunity for you to buy any type of crypto or altcoins at a significant discount. So if you haven't bought before and you're not even in the game, like now's the time. I think that this is not financial advice, but I think that if you have a balanced portfolio, like for example, even something like mine with low risk, I think that there's an easy chance for people to 5x or even 10x still. So $54,000 is my prediction coming up. So it's now August. If you made it to the end of this video, know that I run one of the biggest Discord groups, a private Discord group with tons of members that's very active. And it's got tons of resources in there from an educational perspective that can really take you to the next level. So if you're serious about learning from somebody that has been hyper successful in crypto over 9 years, come join my Discord group. Every month, I allow 5 people to join my elite group where they get access to every course that I've ever made, a channel that's highly engaging with tons of live trading as well, where I look and hunt for live trades with you daily. And if you're very serious about trading, make an investment in yourself because that's the best investment you can make. So many people end up getting liquidated and losing everything, and they just wish that they took one course to learn a little bit more about it. So make sure you guys DM me to get into the elite group, and we'll go from there. See you later.